all you lovely kings, queens, and in-betweens, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Elaine, and today I'm going to be recapping Season 1 of Campfire Cooking in Another World with my absurd skill. This video is part 2 of my series, which covers episodes 4 through 6. Now, without any further ado, I'm going to jump right back into episode 4. Mukohda, ever the curious chef turned reluctant adventurer, asks Fel if he uses magic when hunting. Fel, sounding like a seasoned predator with a sprinkle of smug, replies, "Nah, mostly claws and teeth, old school style, but magic's great for crowd control, like if you're invited to a goblin party and didn't RSVP. He then flexes, metaphorically, about being best at wind magic, thanks to the goddess Ninrir's blessing. Mukohda asks if he can use magic too, and Fel says only if he possesses magic power. Mukohda checks his stats, like he's peeking at his bank account. Surprise, he's got magic. The catch? He has no idea how to use it. Fel's advice? Just think about it. Mukohda thinks so hard he could sprain a neuron and still nothing. So Fel plays Magic 101 instructor, making Mukohda put his hands on him to feel the flow. Totally not awkward. Eventually, Mukohda manages a flicker of magic, but honestly, his talent level makes boiled cabbage look impressive. Fel says his lack of growth is to be expected, given the mediocrity of his training, and he needs battle experience to fix the issue. Mukohda protests, he doesn't want to be injured, etc. Fel is ticked, picks him up and whisks Mukohda off to gain battle experience. Next thing Mukohda knows, he's in front of a goblin camp, staring at more green faces than a St. Patrick's Day parade. He tries to refuse because of their numbers, so Fel decides to help by howling like a werewolf DJ summoning the dance floor. The goblins charge. Mukohda runs for his life, screaming like a guy who saw his online delivery marked delayed. He trips over a rock. Classic. And a goblin catches up, swinging a sword. Mukohda's internal monologue. This is it. Death by garden gnome with anger issues. But before the goblin turns him into sashimi, Fel's barrier spell kicks in, saving Mukohda's bacon. Goblins start pounding the barrier like Black Friday shoppers at a store door. Mukohda panics, yeets out some fireballs, and actually starts winning, until he collapses mid-spell like a smartphone with 2% battery left. Fel comes to his rescue. Upon awakening, Mukohda is upset with Fel and his methods, but learns he leveled up and gained a fire magic skill. To celebrate, Fel gives Mukohda a goblin king with a magic stone, then demands a feast in return because apparently saving your life comes with a catering fee. When he tries to rise to cook, Mukohda wobbles and wonders if it's because he used so much magic. He realizes he cannot cook and is forced to order supplies from his online grocery. The pair feast on melon bread and other sweets. As they're dining, Fel reiterates that he's been blessed by Ninrir, the goddess of wind. As a result, he's immune to all poisons and sicknesses and has gained protection against status ailments. It's also part of the reason he's so good with wind magic despite his innate talent. In essence, it has only made his magic stronger. After learning what Fel has gained from his goddess's blessing, Mukohda realizes he needs one too to make him stronger and sends out a desperate prayer for someone to bless him. Somewhere in divine customer service, a goddess picks up his call. Fast forward to the next town. Everyone sees Fel and freaks out like they spotted Bigfoot in a Starbucks, spurring Mukohda to present his guild card and lie. Fel is only a great wolf. Despite the lie, the people are still afraid of Fel, and Fel himself is displeased. Just a wolf? Excuse you. Mukohda is told to be more careful going forward to keep from creating panic in the future, and he agrees. Fel makes his displeasure known again and explains that because of their contract, they can communicate telepathically. The guard warns Mukohda that he is liable for any trouble Fel may cause, and they are sent on their way. Mukohda decides to look for a map while in town to keep them from having to wander without direction. Mukohda winds up in a bookstore while on his hunt for a map, and after asking after the price of a book, discovers that paper is a rare item, which makes them expensive. Maps restricted like government secrets. The library useless. Defeated, Mukohda returns to Fel to have dinner. He buys yakitori and tonkatsu from the online grocery and presents it to Fel before enjoying his own dinner. The next day, Mukohda finds himself in a pub and buys some men a round of drinks in exchange for information. They spill the tea. The Riseager kingdom is in chaos thanks to a king who thinks world domination is a fun hobby. The Armon and Leonhardt kingdoms, though, stable and full of dungeons, making them ideal for adventurers. Mukohda is hesitant to visit the dungeons and admits to needing a map before he can go anywhere. This spurs the men to offer to sell Mukohda the map they have on them. He buys it from them for a single gold coin, only to learn from the other patrons after they leave that he had been ripped off. The maps are sold at the Adventurers Guild for a silver coin each. Fel comforts him, and they decide to go east next, which will draw them closer to the sea. A blue slime begins to explore the world and try new things. It spots Mukohda and Fel out camping. Episode 5. Ninrir begins to take an interest in Mukohda, since she's surprised he managed to form a contract with Fel. Fel takes Mukohda to a lakeside, where he shocks fish with his lightning magic for Mukohda to prepare for the next meal. As Mukohda gathers Fel's catch, he discovers Fel has been eating poisonous fish, and won't allow it anymore since the poison would harm him, and can't be allowed to come in contact with the other ingredients. After buying some supplies from his online grocery, Mukohda prepares the fish in various ways for them both to enjoy. After they enjoy their meal, Mukohda rises and his foot makes contact with a slime. Mukohda begins to bond with it once Fel assures him it's harmless, and Mukohda realizes it's cold and jiggly like jelly. He thinks it's adorable and appraises it. Yup, weak as overcooked noodles. Mukohda wants to feed it, but is all out of food to offer. That's when the slime starts consuming the remnants of the traveler's meals, like empty bottles. When Mukohda remarks it'll eat trash, Fel explains the slime will eat anything. The slime continues to eat, and Mukohda is forced to rescue his pan, cooking stove, dishware, and cutlery from it. Mukohda praises the slime for eating the trash, and it jumps into his arms happy, spurring Fel to remark that the slime has become Mukohda's familiar as well. Mukohda is confused. He never made a contract with the slime. Fel explains that it was the slime's fervent wish to become his familiar, and he accepted its feelings, which was enough to create a contract. Fel urges Mukohda to name his new familiar. Mukohda names the slime Sui. Mukohda has picked up some earth magic, but isn't very talented. Fel suggests trying battle experience again. Mukohda refuses. Mukohda prepares a miso-marinated orc bowl for their lunch after Fel declares he is hungry. After letting Sui know they shouldn't eat the bowl, only the stuff inside it, the group digs in. After their initial portion, Mukohda realizes that orc meat doesn't seem weird to him anymore, and he takes it to mean that he's gotten used to the food in the new world. After the meal, Mukohda appraises Sui and realizes that the consumption of his empty water bottle earlier and the food provided them with some buffs. This causes him to realize that eating food can temporarily boost your stats, but doesn't have any effect on your level. Then, Sui graduates from eating trash to doing dishes, which officially makes them Mukohda's favorite child. They all celebrate Sui's big day with dorayaki. The next day, Mukohda is awoken by his familiars and informed by Fel that he has something important to discuss with him. He tells Mukohda that the previous night he received a divine message from Ninrir. He reveals that he knows Mukohda was jealous of his blessing and wished for his own. Mukohda confirms, and Fel reveals that Mukohda's wish reached his goddess, who was prepared to grant Mukohda's wish in exchange for a weekly prayer offering made of otherworldly sweets. Conditions: no skipping snacks Sunday. Perks: immunity to all status ailments except instant death and super cursed. Plus, magic gets easier. Fel also warns that it's vital Mukohda not neglect his weekly offering. Mukohda agrees. Ninrir's first order: onpan, cream bread, and melon bread. Mukohda prays. Fel gives him prayer 101. Just sound like you mean it. Makes the offering and boom, minor blessing achieved. Ninrir immediately starts snacking in the divine realm. Now that he has been blessed, Mukohda tests out his magic and realizes that he's improved a fair amount. Sui is also getting stronger, and Mukohda wonders if they'll evolve if they continue to get stronger. Mukohda continues to practice to the point of exhaustion and refreshes himself with sweets. Fel returns from an errand, finds out he missed the chocolate, and demands some. Ninrir barges in via divine DM, demanding chocolate and dorayaki. Mukohda: ma'am, it hasn't even been a week. Chill. Ninrir: no, you chill and hand over the snacks. Mukohda caves because arguing with a deity who controls your buffs is a bad idea. Fel notices the new offering and is like, impressive, you're so devoted. Mukohda: bro, I'm being mugged by a goddess. The group sets out, and Mukohda informs Fel of how much his magic has improved since receiving the blessing. Fel is not impressed and decides to take Mukohda somewhere. Ninrir watches Mukohda and Fel enjoying their food and laments that she can't have onpan. Episode 6. Fel drags Mukohda to a freshly spawned dungeon like a dad throwing his kid into the deep end of a pool and saying, swim! Mukohda naturally is screaming, I don't even like dungeon! But Fel hits him with the guilt trip. If I'm not around someday, you'll need to protect yourself. Mukohda sighs, realizing this wolf is basically his toxic gym buddy. Before entering, Mukohda orders a buffet from his online grocery because if you're going to suffer, you might as well carb load like a king. He explains the plan. Eat food, get buffs, survive. Maybe. Fel and Sui nod like this is the best pre-dungeon brunch ever. They chow down, check stats, and boom! Mukohda's numbers are up, and Sui even leveled. Fel, still an unkillable demigod. Then Mukohda reluctantly enters the dungeon under Fel's coercion and is helped through it by Sui. As they make their way through, Fel explains that a dungeon is similar to a living creature. It will absorb anything that dies inside. Mukohda wonders why the monsters are attacking when he's with Fel. They didn't when they were in the forest. Fel explains it's because they're dungeon monsters who consider anything that enters an enemy to be taken down. Eventually, the group makes it to the last level of the dungeon, where Mukohda must fight Cobalt. Fel, being the supportive mentor he is, yeets Mukohda into the fight with a cheery, good luck! Mukohda teams up with Sui, who's melting foes with acid, while Mukohda hurls stone bullets like a very angry gardener. After they defeat the majority of the kobolds, an enraged Kobold King emerges. It's pissed they killed his army. While fighting the Kobold King, Mukohda uses too much magic and begins to wear down, forcing Sui to come in for the rescue. The slime melts the Kobold King with one of his acid attacks. Mukohda passes out. When Mukohda awakens outside the dungeon, he discovers that Sui leveled up, is no longer a baby slime, can use acid bullets, and can talk. Like Sui, he discovers that he is also level 7. He has also gained the earth magic skill. Mukohda checks stats stats and realizes Sui is stronger than him. His familiar is literally outdoing him like a kid beating their dad at video games. Fel returns from his hunt and demands a feast for helping Mukohda unlock his earth magic skill. Even though he's upset with Fel for lying about the fact that his barrier spell may break back in the dungeon, Mukohda decides to buy some things from the online grocery before preparing a meal of oyakodon for everyone. After the meal, Mukohda asks if Fel has spoken to Sui already. Fel says he has, and Sui confirms. They had spoken to Uncle Fel a lot after they got out of the dungeon. Mukohda finds the name hilarious, while Fel is not amused. He yells at Sui, frightening the slime, forcing Mukohda to comfort Sui as Mukohda playfully chastises Fel for his behavior. Reluctantly, Fel agrees to let Sui call him uncle, but only Sui. The episode backtracks to when Fel carried Mukohda out of the dungeon after he passed out. When Sui expresses concern over their master, Fel is surprised to hear their voice. Sui is happy their voice is being heard and they can speak like master and speak to others. This is when Fel first hears he's an uncle and is unamused by the honorific, even though Sui explains that they feel Fel's qualities, like being older than them and big and strong, make them a good uncle, and uncles are great. And there you have it, my Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill Season 1 recap, Part 2. Catch you in the next one. Bye guys!